Welcome to the Career Changers Podcast, the podcast that bridges the gap between your passion for nursing and your dream job. Whether you're a seasoned nurse looking for that perfect role or a new nurse eager to embark on your professional journey, our show is a compass in the world of nursing careers. We will guide you through job opportunities, insider insights, and inspiring stories that will empower you to land the job of your dreams. Join us as we explore diverse nursing avenues and help you find your path. Get ready to make the career leap because Career Changers is here to connect you.
Hey everyone, we're here with Jess Doris, who is the assistant nurse manager on 2 Rosengarten at Lankenau, which is a general telemetry unit. So before we dive in today, we're going to be talking about a new charge nurse role that rolled out called Modified Assignment Charge Nurse. But before we dive into that, we're going to start off with Jess just telling us a little bit about herself, how she got into nursing, and her career journey at Mainline Health, like how she got to be where she is.
Hi, thank you for having me. My name's Jess. I've been a nurse for 10 years now. I started off getting my diploma in nursing. I got that from Conemaugh School of Nursing in Johnstown. I got that in 2014. Got my BSN in 2016, and then my MSN with a CNL certification in 2020. I always knew that I wanted to be in the medical field because I liked the science aspect of it, but I also knew I wanted to help people, so nursing was kind of a no-brainer for me. And then as I got to know nursing and I was confident in caring for patients, I wanted to be able to take care of the nurses as well because I realized that we can't take care of patients unless we take care of ourselves. So that kind of took me on the leadership track. Most of my background is progressive care and cardiothoracic surgery step down, and I've also done travel nursing for a few years. So I started here at Lankenau in February of 2020 as a staff nurse on the CT step down unit. And then this role opened up in June of 2021. And so I took this role then, and I've been really loving the assistant nurse manager role at 2 Rosengarten, and I love the staff here.
Awesome. And it's so awesome that you became an A&M pretty quickly after joining Mainline Health. So it really shows that you can, grow pretty quickly within our organization, which is, nice to hear.
Yeah, definitely. That's one thing I love about Mainline Health for sure.
Yeah. So as mentioned, our subject today is about the modified assignment charge nurse. Jess was the one that came up with this initiative and idea. So if you don't mind, diving into, a little bit more about the details of what this role is.
Yeah, so the charge nurse role has been in effect on this unit since April 1st. So previously, the charge nurse was taking a full patient assignment, which was 4 patients. So they would take care of their patient assignment, but they'd also have additional tasks like checking the crash cart, communicating with the bed planners, the nursing supervisors, checking in with other staff. And it was really just becoming a lot for the charge nurses, especially with all the admissions and discharges we were getting. So with this modified assignment, the charge nurse takes a 2-patient assignment instead of their full 4-patient assignment. And that gives them extra time to care for their patients while also completing the extra tasks that they have, like the crash cart, making the assignment at change of shift, communicating with supervisors and things like that.
That's great. Yeah, I think that's a great idea because as mentioned, having a full patient assignment on top of being a charge nurse can be a lot. So I think this will make additional nurses more interested in this role as well.
Yeah, and that was definitely one of our goals because I think people were nervous to get into the charge nurse role because it just seemed like so much, and it honestly was a lot. So by giving them a modified assignment, I feel like they're a little more empowered to make decisions on the unit, and they don't feel as overwhelmed with everything.
Yeah, definitely. And then they can get that leadership skills. Some nurses want to move up into an A&M role or like an educator role, but need to get that like charge nurse experience first.
Yeah, definitely.
And has this already gone into effect, or is it having plans to roll out anytime soon?
Yeah, so it went into effect on April 4th actually. of this year. And so, yeah, I guess it's been about 2 months that we've been doing the modified assignment charge, and the charge nurses really love it. And I know the staff have really liked it as well.
Awesome. So have you had a good amount of interest already?
Yeah, so we have a lot of charge nurses on our floor, but it was this making the modified assignment for the charge nurses really empowered our newer charge nurses to not be so afraid to be in the role, because they have a little more time to stop and think without being overwhelmed by all four patients and what's happening medically with them. They have time to kind of stop and think and really develop, like we were saying, that like critical thinking from a leadership perspective. So they've really
Mhm.
enjoyed that, and the staff really like it too, because then there's a nurse who has that extra time to help them clean up a patient who's a complete, or to take a patient off the floor who needs to be monitored, or help with an admission and discharge when there's like 8 all at once. So it's been really nice.
Yeah, that's awesome. And what, made you come up with this idea and how did that process look, bringing this up to like leadership?
Yeah, so it really just came from listening to the concerns of the charge nurses and the staff members, and coming up with a solution that worked for everyone. We have a lot of admissions and discharges, specifically between the hours of 3 p.m. to 11 p.m. And unfortunately, those are the hours that I can't always be here. So it was a lot for the charge nurses to keep up with, 8 to 10 discharges with 8 to 10 admissions, while trying to do their evening med pass, and um, keeping up with the bed planner and the chat with the bed planners. So we made a group of charge nurses. We did a Teams meeting where all the charge nurses met to talk about what they needed in the role and what this charge nurse role could look like with a modified assignment. So we kind of came up with at the charge nurse roles and requirements document that we have. We kind of came up with that collaboratively to make sure that everyone was on the same page and that it was going to work for the charge nurses and the other nurses who weren't in the charge role but would still be affected by the modified assignment.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And does a nurse have to be with Mainline Health for a certain time period before they can sign up to do something like this?
No, there's no set time period. We kind of base it on overall nursing experience, as well as like performance and engagement on the unit and what their interests are. So if there's a newer nurse who they feel comfortable with caring for their patients, they've gotten to know the unit and the system, and they have an interest in becoming a nursing leader someday, even if they're newer to the organization, they can still be a charge nurse if that's what they would like.
And it goes back to like your career journey. What's nice about Mainline Health is you can really jump right in and start expanding your experience and leadership skills and grow, which again, it's one nice thing about Mainline Health, I think, as well.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. I think it's great to work somewhere where, even though you're new to the organization, if you express an interest in something, whether it's leadership or like if you're interested in wound care, if you're interested in education, they will build you up to eventually be able to work in one of those roles.
Yeah, Mainline Health is really good about that. We have good leaders for that.
Definitely.
And what are some of the benefits for a nurse that does this role?
For the charge nurse, I've seen them have a better understanding of the unit as a whole. And that helps them to make the assignments and to better assist their team members based on the acuity of their assignments. And they also are able to better pay attention to their patient assignment. They don't feel like they have to be rushing out of rooms. They have more time to actually interact with their patients while still checking in with all of the nursing staff.
Mhm.
They
Yeah, they get
definitely
a
don't have
good
to stretch themselves as thin anymore.
Yeah, and they get, like you said, get a good feel for like both sides, the patient interaction and like more of the back end with stuff as well.
Definitely, yep.
And what would you say are the benefits for the staff to have a role like this on your unit?
They enjoy it because they know that there's somebody there that has a little bit of extra time to help them bathe a complete patient, or drawing labs in the morning, like on night shift. The charge nurse has a little extra time to help with all of the 30 lab draws we have to do on the unit. They can assist with discharges and admissions and utilize things like the virtual discharge nurse. They have a little bit more time for the charge nurse to set up the virtual discharge nurse for another nurse, and that kind of just takes a little bit of the burden of everything off of the staff nurse as well. And I know that the charge nurse also works to coordinate people's lunch breaks. So they assign a lunch buddy and they check in with the staff to make sure that they're going on their lunch break. And if there's something like a discharge or hanging an IV antibiotic that's preventing them from going to lunch on time, then the charge nurse can say, hey, I'll hang this antibiotic for you and your lunch buddy can cover the rest of your patients. You go take your break. And when you come back, you're not going to be behind on your work.
Yeah, that's great because, nurses can get so tied up and not take their lunch break. But I think mentally, especially with a busy tele unit like 2R, it's really important to take that break.
Yeah, and the staff, I've noticed that the staff feel more comfortable taking their lunch break now, and they don't feel like they have to rush and eat their food while they're also thinking about work and taking phone calls. They have a little bit more time to actually decompress so they can come back to the unit more refreshed.
Yeah, and that's so important.
Mm-hmm.
And have you had is there any plans to expand to other units within Mainline Health, or has that already been rolled out?
No, there's no concrete plans. I know a couple units have expressed interest in something similar, so I definitely wouldn't rule it out for the future on other units. I think it is a great opportunity for other units, especially if they're overwhelmed during that 3 to 11 period where there's a ton of admissions and a ton of discharges happening all at once. I think it would be great for any unit experiencing that problem.
Yeah, I actually have a unit at Riddle for Pavilion, which gets pretty bogged down with discharges. So I'll definitely have to mention this to them, and maybe you could help, talk with that manager too about the role.
Yeah, for sure. It's definitely modifiable to your unit needs. So it's not like super set in stone, it's flexible, but there's guidelines that make sure that it's staying on track.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And then lastly, what makes you stay at Mainline Health? Why do you enjoy working for the organization?
Like we said, there's always room for growth, and they really pay a lot of attention to developing their staff and paying attention to what their interests are and giving them the education and the tools they need to get where they want to be in their career. But I think even more than that, I just love the people here. I've worked in several different places, and there's always going to be stress no matter where you work. This is a stressful career and a stressful, a hospital is always stressful. It's just kind of the nature of it. But I think the people that work for Mainline Health, specifically Lankenau and 2 Rosengarten, they're exceptional. Even during my most stressful days, I know I'm working with a team that cares about each other and cares about the people that they're helping.
That's awesome. Yeah, and even when I go on site at Lankenau, you can definitely feel how great all the workers are. And I'm also a patient of Lankenau, and I've just had such great experiences. So you can definitely see that people love and enjoy working for Mainline Health, even though, like you said, it can be stressful some days.
Yeah, yeah. Even despite the stress, I still go home and I feel happy that I get to work with all the amazing people that I get to work with.
Awesome. I love hearing that. Well, thank you so much, Jess, for joining us today and telling us a little bit more about this role.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you so much, Nicolette.
You've been listening to the Career Changers podcast. Moderators include Nicolette Piscani, Abigail Metzler, Tracy Peterson, Cheryl Romoldi, and Connie Samuelevich. Music is by CapCut. Executive producers include Mainline Health Talent Acquisition Partners. Thank you for listening. We hope you join us for our next Career Changers podcast.